This season of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com. This episode of the Urban Conservative has also been sponsored by Case Technology Consulting. Help your business get value out of its data and become more efficient and streamlined. Case Technology Consulting. Check out the link in the description. Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
Do you like NASCAR? Do you like a Tribe Called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you'd love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Yo, what's good, son? You like pit bulls, say? You like solving Sudoku puzzles? Then you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Hey, buddy, if your car making a sound like this, you might want to get you some power steering fluid and check out the Urban Conservative Podcast.
Are you repulsed by the idea of drag queen story time at your local library, but enjoy Carol Baskin TikTok memes? Then you would enjoy the Urban Conservative. What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Monday night. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. I'm Abdul Ali. That guy over there is my twin brother, Raheem Architect Soto. Glad to have you with us on a Monday night. As always, jump in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from so we can get you a shout out. If you haven't done so already, please go over to tuconservative.com. Get yourself a membership. Support the platform. You can also sponsor an episode. There's a little tab for you to do that as well. We really appreciate everybody jumping in to check out the show tonight. It's exciting times around these parts, bro. It is. We hope everybody had a wonderful, safe, festive weekend. Everybody got the weekend in one part. Not too much hangover medicine going around. You know, it was a wild weekend. There's some wild things going on around the county and around the state. There's been just nonsensical nonsense flying around for the last couple of days. But tonight's the night, folks. We've been looking forward to this episode. This is kind of a very special episode for us because a lot of times, especially in the communities of folks where their freckles are as close together as ours, we seem to think that there's this inability to get in touch with our elected officials and question them and quote unquote put them on the hot seat, if you will, and get in touch with them. So tonight's show is very special to us because the gentleman that's joining us tonight, we've seen ascend to where he's at, and the thing is, he's been a stand-up guy through and through since his name was brought up on my radar through my wife. She's had nothing but praise for this gentleman. He was an excellent boss, excellent leader in the community. He was an amazing candidate, overcame some incredible odds. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, now Congressman for New York's 1st District, Nick Lalota. I need my air horns.
Woman, how we doing?
Oh, good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining us here on the platform. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. I've been looking forward to this a bit myself, guys.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the enthusiasm. And again, just on the outset, we want to thank you for taking the time, with everything going on in the country. And now I could imagine you're busy as ever. So we really appreciate you taking the time and just kind of jumping right in. How has things changed post, pre-election to finding out you won to now? Like, how have things changed?
So what an honor it is to be trusted by Long Islanders in this very important seat at this very important moment in our nation's history. Right now, I'm sitting in my house office building, Longworth 1530. Just got done with a long day here. It is Monday, our first day back in town. We were in town last week, went home for a quick weekend. Now we're back here, and it's an honor to be here to represent Long Islanders, Americans, to help ensure that our country remains the greatest the world has ever known. We have big challenges ahead of us. We campaigned on some strong issues. We said that we were going to put the economy back on the right track. We're going to promote public safety. We're going to protect freedoms. We're going to hold the administration accountable. That's our focus as a Congress. I have a special focus too, to help bring resources back home for my community on Long Island, to ensure that Long Island remains a great place to live, work, and play. It's important to me, and it's an awesome, humbling opportunity for me to be the first district of New York's member of Congress. It's awesome to be on with you guys.
Wow.
Go ahead, Ali.
Go ahead, fire away, bro. You're congressman.
Here's the thing. I mentioned some of the insurmountable odds, some of the what would have seemed as insurmountable odds at the time. But have things sped up post getting the news? Like, what was that initial news election night like? Like, I know we were with some folks and we were excited and pins and needles, but what was that night like for you, finding out how things turned out?
Yeah, so soon after I left the Navy, I got involved in government and politics. And my wife and I have been together for about 14 years now, and I've been involved in government politics for about as long. And I keep on telling her, okay, this is going to be like a calm part of the calendar. Don't worry. And it never turns out that way. It seems like every week, every month, it's action-packed, but we like it. We love it. We had a competitive primary, which we prevailed by, I think it was 19 points. We had a very competitive general election, but yet we prevailed by 11 points. That speaks to the folks around me who supported me, who trusted me, who carried my literature, who made the phone calls, who knocked on the doors, who stood in the shopping centers promoting our message. So thankful for everybody's support, and that it worked out right. And on election night, I don't know if you remember back, Suffolk County's machines weren't quite working, or at least the upload, right? The upload wasn't working quite so well. So we didn't have the results right away. We had to wait till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, but
you don't say.
It was worth waiting for. We got the results early that morning. And of course, we and many others prevailed and are bringing our message to Washington to help put the country back on the right track.
So was that a surreal moment though? Like that moment where you get the news, like, yo, you're the guy. Isn't that like I could imagine, like, how is that though?
So we all come to this with different perspectives. My perspectives, I served as a military officer for 7 or 8 years. I was a division officer and assistant department head on a couple of ships. Loved that job, the best job I ever had. I left it so that I could marry my high school sweetheart and start a family. We have 3 wonderful children, but I missed that job, and I miss it quite often. And I ran for this office and I wanted to represent fellow Americans in Congress, partially to fill a void that I had in me by not continuing my military service. Never got to command a ship or do anything tremendous like that. So to me, this is a small replacement for that journey I had to put on hold way back in 2007. I'm quite blessed to be able to be given this opportunity.
Wow. Yo, I think that's a perspective a lot of people needed to hear from somebody who has a major part by having a vote in the US Congress about shaping the direction of our country. And Congressman Lalota, it was like saving America was kind of the theme I saw my brother put up as the title here. A big part of that is what we heard on the campaign trail from Republicans like Dan Bishop and others, and yourself included, about energy independence. And as a matter of fact, that was what your speech was about, your first floor speech. So before we play it, I gotta ask, how bad were the nerves? Because being a command, you've public spoken. I'm sure you public spoke before, but this is the room. Right? Like, I've been in the White House and it kind of freaked me out a little bit knowing what happened in there. So the lead up to giving the speech, what's going through your mind as you're going up there to give your first speech on the floor?
So I tell you what, of course, don't screw it up, don't screw it up, don't screw it up, as the voice whispered in my head. I was more nervous during the first couple of votes for speaker. I for Kevin McCarthy. But for the year prior to coming to Congress, I was the chief of staff to the county legislature. And the presiding officer, my boss, his name is Kevin McCaffrey. So I was so nervous the 15 times I stood up and said Kevin McCarthy on the House floor that I was going to slip and say Kevin McCaffrey. That
Shouts
was a
out to
little more
Kevin
nerve-wracking
McCaffrey.
for me that I didn't screw that up because, of course, that was on national TV with tens of millions of Americans watching. The floor speech I gave on C-SPAN, not as many people, I don't suspect, have seen that yet. But yes, it's something to be taken very seriously, to be delivered, with the right amount of, accuracy and confidence. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't rehearse it a couple of times before I went to the floor.
All right,
What is
ladies and
it? What
gentlemen.
is it,
Hold on.
Ali? I got one question. What does that room actually smell like? Like, what is it? I have this idea in my mind that it smells like oak.
So yes, the furniture, I guess, if you put your nose to it, might smell rich and mahogany-ish. The room itself doesn't have much of a smell, but it definitely has an aura of greatness in it. Many things have happened in that room. Wars have been declared in that room. Other monumental governmental things have happened in the United States House of Representatives on the floor. So the first time I walked in during orientation, I was definitely awestruck. And I don't usually get awestruck amongst people, at least. I've met presidents. I've met other, actors, athletes, and whatnot. It's an honor to meet folks like that. But I never got to a point where, my heartbeat changed or my jaw dropped. It did the first time I walked in the House floor. I was an extreme honor and an opportunity for just a chubby kid from North Bayshore to be elected to Congress and to be able to cast votes on the House floor. Tremendous honor for me.
Well, Ali, it's a big inspiration for me personally, because to be this close to someone that's in that position, it makes it all the more attainable. Like, it makes me think when I go through my day to day, just being honest with you, Congressman, that it makes it attainable for me. And for other people who may have had some type of, let's just say they didn't have it easy coming up and things seem insurmountable. I just really appreciate you for being an accessible inspiration to so many people around here. I've heard that repeated over and over again, how easy it is to get in touch with Nick. He hasn't changed a bit. He still picks up the phone. So I have to give you a big kudos and give you your roses for that right now.
Thanks. You got to keep it real. You have to be the person that you campaigned to be. You have to be the person who you advertise yourself to be. That's an essential part of this. We can have different ideologies on things, but I think the baseline expectation is you are who you say you are, and you conduct yourself with honor and integrity, and you be forthright. That includes being accessible. That certainly includes advertising positions that you're going to adopt, that you're going to stand firm on. And I think that voters, even those who disagree with you on fundamental issues, might come your way just for being a straightforward, honest kind of guy. And that's something I want to continue to pride myself in.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, real quick, we got to show this because he said not too many people might have seen this already, right, or whatever. Let's give it to him, Rob, real quick. We got to show this.
Rise today in support of my amendment to H.R. 21. Increasing American energy supplies decreases our nation's reliance on our adversaries in the Middle East and Russia and is worthy of bipartisan support. H.R. 21 helps me keep a promise I made to Long Islanders that I would fight to make America energy independent by seeking opportunities to safely increase energy production. I made another promise too. I promised to protect Long Island's waters, which are home to a vibrant ecosystem and are the foundation of an already struggling fishing industry. And to keep that promise, I have introduced an amendment to H.R. 21. My simple amendment, which is less than 100 words, states that H.R. 21 cannot affect or supersede any existing restrictions on oil and gas leases offshore the northeast part of the United States from the coast of Maine to New Jersey. I ask my colleagues for their support of this common sense, pro-energy, pro-worker, pro-environment, and pro-fishing amendment. I yield back.
All right. So, first thing I got to tell you, Congressman Lalota, is I love a good speech with a lot of pros. I like pros are good. That's a lot of good pro stuff to be. The idea now, looking at where the country's headed, not just from the position of energy independence and where we're going, where do you see Republicans are going to be able to how far do you think we push going to get back to where we were 2 years ago? Is that doable again? Can we get back there?
So we've made that argument to the public. We said, if you elect us to the House of Representatives, we will do more to extract American energy than we will to import it from places like Russia, the Middle East, and Venezuela. Places and people who often disagree with our way of life and sometimes have been at war with us. So we think it's more prudent. We campaigned on becoming more energy independent. We as a nation are sitting on 43.8 billion barrels of proven oil reserves. That's more than a 20-year supply of energy, of which we know about right now. And I think that, to your question, we should continue down this path of ensuring that we safely extract those resources here in this country, because it's better for our economy, it's certainly better for our national security, and it's better for our environment. The oil, the energy is going to come out of the ground somewhere. It's much better to have it come out of the ground here, where it's more highly regulated and it's done in a safer fashion than those other locales I mentioned earlier, who don't have the same oversight, who don't have the same restrictions and regulations, who don't protect the environment when they're taken out of the ground. It's one earth that we have to protect it. And it's much better from an environmental standpoint than when energy is taken out of the ground, it's taken out under U.S. purview.
All right.
Can I ask this question? Who does energy, from the best of your knowledge, who does energy the best around the world?
Americans. I mean, American energy companies do it cleanest, most efficient. It's the Americans who have led the way for decades on this.
All right, I gotta throw a term at you before we go to this quick commercial break. Since we're talking about this, climate equity. What do you think when you hear that one? Climate equity. What does that do?
Or climate justice. So pick one. Yeah.
So the left, makes us, a little bit agitated on things like this at times. And what's unfair and unbalanced about their approach to it is that they would have us here in America live under a regime where we can't extract our own natural resources, while other nations like China are spewing pollutants in the air all the time. We are one globe, we are one world, and it doesn't really make much of a difference if we in this part of the hemisphere are doing one thing, but 95% of the remaining world's consumers are doing nothing about it. This does need to be tackled from a worldwide perspective, and absolutely China needs to be held accountable along the way.
Factamundo. Ladies and gentlemen, right around the 18-minute mark, you're checking out the Urban Conservative Podcast. It's a Monday night. We're kicking it with Congressman Nick Lalota, New York 1, in the building, literally in D.C., in the building, as it were. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back on the Urban Conservative Podcast. Don't go nowhere. Tell a friend. Share it.
Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Urban Conservative. Again, head over to the website, tuconservative.com. Help us spread conservative values to urban communities around the country, especially here in New York. We got a mountain to climb here in New York, but in many other states, we're working hard to bring these conservative values to urban-minded folks around the country. You can support us by sponsoring an episode. Go to the website, tuconservative.com, cash app, $ TU Conservative. We have a Teespring. Get yourself a work privilege shirt. Get yourself a TUC shirt. Do something like that help the brothers out. But listen, we got about 8 minutes left with the congressman, and we got a go or no go round coming up. But before we get to that, Ali, let's deal with the treatment of veterans here, and you're working and helping our veterans, and why that's so important. My brother being a veteran, you guys being veterans, how important is it that we continue to support our veterans, especially here in New York?
Yeah, so whether they signed up when they were 18 or older, veterans at one point in their life or another wrote a check to the U.S. government for up to and including their life. And there are many of us who did so proudly without any ego, just because we love this damn country. We want to make sure that it's defended from sea to shining sea, right? Some of us went overseas, some of us went into battle, some of us didn't. But everybody signed up at one point in time or another saying that they're willing to do anything that the boss tells you to do to help defend this great country. And when those veterans come home, we owe it to them to make sure that they have a stable ground from which they can start a family, own a home, get an education, to ensure that the time they gave up, whether it was in the States or overseas, the time they put their life on hold for this great country, that we make up a small amount to them to ensure that the rest of their lives can be just okay. And proud to have been selected to be on the House Armed Services Committee, as well as the Homeland Security Committee, the Small Business Committee. But that first one in particular, the Armed Services Committee, gives me a tremendous opportunity to ensure that our men and women in uniform, when they're going to the next conflict, have the resources, the policies they need to succeed in that conflict and to come home safely. It's awesome to have served as an officer in the military and alongside some of the brightest, strongest, most patriotic men and women. And now from a policymaking perspective, and our government spends $900 billion on defense, at least we did last year, that those resources and the policies that are shaped around them are the appropriate ones for our men and women in uniform.
Nice.
He mentioned the Homeland Security committee, and this border's out of control. Is it being hyperbolic to say that we have a virtually an open border? Is this just rhetoric, or I mean, with the numbers that even that's on your Twitter, the latest statistics, how real is this crisis? From now, being directly, like, how real is this crisis?
Yeah, it's real, but you don't have to trust my word. You don't have to trust the data that's widely available and verified. You just have to look in every community throughout the country. It used to be that the border issues are really only an issue of border states, but there are two things which have made now New York State a border state. Be it we're 2,500 miles from the border, we are a border state for two reasons. One, this administration's tremendously lax border policy, which has made it so loose, it's like Swiss cheese. Folks can come through all the time. They could bring their weapons, their drugs, illegal human trafficking. It's terrible. But the second thing that has made New York a border state is the blue state sanctuary city policies, which have prevented local law enforcement from cooperating with federal law enforcement on immigration issues. It's the combination of those two which has led to this issue spiraling out of control. Proud to have been named onto the Homeland Security Committee. We're going to do a trip down to the border here real soon to put our eyes on those issues. Now, listen, I know the term wall triggers some people. Whether it's a wall, a fence, or some other physical barrier, we need to be able to seal that damn border already. It's a simple thing. If you had crime coming onto your property all the time, you'd probably have your property fenced in, right?
Right.
The same thing exists on the southern border, and we should get that done right away.
Look, real quick, Ross, since you brought that up, and Congressman, at 2 points. One, I had the chance to meet and work with a guy named Christian Castelli, who ran for Congress down here, Lieutenant Colonel Fulbert, Army Colonel, combat vet. And he had made some trips down to the border, and some of the things that he said, that he told us about stories, not just people right on the border, but American citizens that are 30 miles away, 20 miles away, that have properties that these coyotes bring people through and have people dying on, and their children going out to the school bus and finding dead migrants. All of these things that happen there, it's definitely real. And I can say that I think it's really important to have veterans on a Homeland Security Committee like that. So that's awesome that you got on there.
Ali, before we, you got a question?
Well, I kind of wanted to add, so looking at where we are from this border perspective and getting the border problem fixed, when you have states like California that are basically giving illegal immigrants driver's licenses, allowing them to become police officers there, passing these state laws that are essentially just saying, basically screw the Constitution, what do we do to fight against that? Is there, what do we do there?
So I believe in states' rights, but this has gone too far. I mean, we are the United States, and each of our states has some uniqueness about it, which makes them different from the neighboring states, and certainly the ones far away. So I do believe in the 10th Amendment and states' rights and the things that go along with it. But here's what we can do as a federal government. The federal government sends states money, and usually in terms of grant money. We can condition some of those grant funds on ensuring that we have cooperation on the enforcement of our federal immigration laws. It's just bad business to have our rules and regulations as a federal government and to be sending states so much money while they not only turn a blind eye to federal immigration law, but they do things to induce illegal immigration. I think it's important that we make that wrong right. And one of the things is strings attached to the money that we're sending some of these states with some of these wacky policies.
Right, because in my mind, that's a homeland security. We just covered on this morning's morning show. A guy here illegally in Jersey killed 3 people. They released him because of these, like you said, these blue policies. These catch and release and low bail and no bail policies. It's really a national security interest when Americans are dying. So yeah, what you got, bro?
I got it because we got a little bit of time left, right? I have to ask this question. Have you ran into AOC? Have you seen any of these people in real life yet?
Yeah, we see each other.
Is it true? I'm just asking. Is it true that their heads are really like abnormally big in person? Is it true? Like, like they got the Hollywood thing.
Right,
like
you can't ask him that.
I'm sorry. You know how you see an actor and they like, yo, his head was like really big. Like he has like this massive actor head. I always seem to think these people. I don't know.
I'm sorry, you cut out. I couldn't hear the question.
All right. Anyhow,
I had to try. It was worth a shot.
All right. So look, we got a few minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. We're kicking it with Congressman Nick Lalota, New York 1 in the building, doing some amazing things for the American people, for veterans. It is not your first run around here on the Urban Conservative, so we switch things up. We got a little lightning around because part of what we do here is we want folks to know it's good to know these elected officials. We know the policy stuff and we get that and we agree, but we want people to know who you really are. So today we're going to kick it. It's a little something called Go or No Go. Ra's going to read off some things. You got to let us know go or no go. Here we go.
All right.
Go or no go? Fruit on pizza.
No go. Long Island. What are we talking about? Fruit on pizza.
Okay. No go.
We're talking chicken, maybe some pepperoni, maybe that, but fruit.
Go or no go? 12-hour drive to see the world's smallest pencil eraser.
I can do a 12-hour drive. I got some truck driver blood in my blood. I ran a trucking company. I could do a 12-hour drive, whether I'm going on a race or not. I don't know.
No. You got to hear the question. A 12-hour drive to see the world's smallest pencil eraser.
All right, so no go.
No, not going to say that. 12 hours now.
Go or no go? Lady Gaga in concert covering Frank Sinatra's greatest hits.
Don't subject me to that. No go.
Go or no go? Flip-flops with socks.
No. Stop. My daughter is on this kick. And I said, what are you doing with that? No.
No go.
Okay. Crouton scented candles.
Why can't we mix them? I'm a go.
Okay. Sounds
okay.
Good.
Garlic
go
vibe.
Or no go? Any Rocky movie as a play performed by the cast of Cats in full cat theme.
Why are we ruining good things? First you want to ruin Sinatra, now you're trying to ruin Rocky.
Here you go. See Rocky, the movie, as a play performed by the cast of Cats.
No go. Okay.
No go? Okay.
No go.
Okay. 80s rock star themed Halloween party. Go or no go?
Oh, let's do it. Go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, that's a go.
The following statement a go or no go? LeBron is the GOAT.
No, come on. We talked about this last time. Michael Jordan's the GOAT. It ain't LeBron. He's got 6 rings. This is a no-go.
Yikes. No go. No go.
Cher starring in a remake of Flashdance.
All I heard was Cher, and I'm a no-go.
All right. How many more you got?
Go or no? Are you going or not going? Joe Biden is driving.
No go. But you know what? No. He wouldn't. I'll give respect to the president. I'll keep that no-go, please.
Okay.
He said, respectfully, no go. No go.
All right. He's won. Ali, the round is up.
All right. You won this round of go or no go. The screen is yours, Congressman Lalota. Talk to the people. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen, for what you're doing to get this good word out there to ensure that folks have a large availability to our message, to ensure that we have a strong government, one that protects freedoms, one that is sustainable for future Americans. We are the greatest country this world has ever known. We've been that way for almost 250 years now. But we got to all work together to ensure that that is the reality for the next couple of generations. Proud to be New York's 1st District's congressman. Proud to know you, gentlemen. Thanks so much for having me on this show. Look forward to get invited back again so we can talk some more. And we'll do go, no go, or whatever else. And you guys are.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Listen,
Thank you.
Ali, let me let the folks know really quick. As you can see here on the Twitter page, if you have any questions and you are in the congressional district, you can call the Suffolk County office at 631-289-1097, or you can visit lalota.house.gov. That is LALOTA.house.gov. Anytime. Constituent services, including your VA benefits, tours, passports, flags, Social Security, IRS, federal grants, Medicaid, or Medicare. Your congressman is here for you. Again, call his office 631-289-1097. And real quick, shouts out to Lauren and your whole team, man. They're really responsive, awesome folks. We really appreciate it. Congressman Lalota, for my twin brother, I have to thank you so much for taking the time out. It's been a pleasure, man. We appreciate you. We'll be in touch. We'll get you back on the show. And anything you need from us, you know, you got it. Anything we can do to, you know, to be supportive of the agenda, and anything folks need to know, get it to us. We'll get the word out there.
You guys are great. Proud to know you.
Thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been kicking it with us on a Monday night here on the Urban Conservative Podcast. We've just been talking with Congressman Nick Lalota, New York 1, filling some pretty big shoes. You know,
there's no way, there's nothing else to talk about. He answered the questions. He didn't tap dance.
Was a good one.
Questions. He shot straight. What more can you ask for from a congressman?
Nothing.
Stand up, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, to keep supporting what we're doing here, follow the link on your screen, tuconservative.com. $, TU Conservative. We getting out of here. We kicked it with our congressman. It's time to go eat some spaghetti and
yo, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. We'll see y'all top of the morning.
Peace. Yes, sir. Peace and love, folks.
Peace.